She didn't come here to prove anything, but they were going to make her. It was a crowded Saturday at the Maplewood Community Aquatic Center. Chlorine filled the air. Kids shrieked and laughed as they jumped into the cool blue water. Parents lounged on the benches, some scrolling through their phones, others chatting about PTA meetings and weekend plans. Then Kiana walked in. 24 years old, athletic build, dark brown skin that seemed to glow beneath the high windows. Her hair was pulled into neat braids under a simple black swim cap. She carried an old, worn duffel bag slung over her shoulder. No flashy gear, no entourage, just quiet confidence. She scanned the pool. Same as every weekend, suburban families, mostly white. She already knew what to expect, but she wasn't here for them. She was here for the water. The one place that had always been honest. On the far side of the pool, 3 women in their 40s sat perched like vultures, sipping iced coffee out of reusable cups. Their children splashed in the water nearby. The moms noticed Kiana the second she entered. "New face," muttered the one in the leopard print cover-up. She adjusted her oversized sunglasses and smirked. "Doesn't look like she belongs here," said another, in a pink Nike hoodie. Her tone wasn't subtle. The third mom didn't bother whispering. Probably just here to watch. She let out a small, condescending laugh. Kiana felt their eyes. She always did. But she ignored the weight of their gaze and walked calmly to an empty bench. She slipped off her hoodie, revealing a simple black swimsuit. No brand names. No bright colors, just function. She stretched, long, practiced movements, neck rolls, arm circles, a deep breath. She didn't need to impress anyone. Not today. But the whisper started anyway. "I wonder if she even knows how to swim." Seriously, you know what they say. They didn't say it outright. They never did. But Kiana had heard it 1,000 different ways growing up. Black people can't swim. Too poor. Too scared. Too different. She walked to the pool's edge. The water rippled invitingly beneath her. A dozen kids played in the shallow end, some dog paddling, others kicking their legs wildly. Their parents watched from the sidelines. Kiana placed one foot into the cool water. She didn't know it yet, but in a few minutes, those same parents would be watching her for an entirely different reason. Kiana slipped into the water without a sound. Her body sliced through the surface like it belonged there. Because it did. The pool had always been her escape, long before it became her battlefield. She moved to lane 4, the only open lane away from the noisy, shallow end. She adjusted her goggles, exhaled, and then she started her warm-up laps. Long, smooth strokes, controlled breathing. Her arms moved with precision, her legs kicking in perfect rhythm. Years of discipline showed in every movement. But it wasn't her technique that drew attention. It was the fact that she swam at all. The white moms on the bench stopped whispering and stared openly now. Their sunglasses couldn't hide the judgment in their eyes. "She's pretty fast," said the mom in the pink hoodie, her voice a mixture of surprise and suspicion. "Fast doesn't mean good," the leopard print mom snapped. "Let's see if she can even keep it up." The third mom chuckled. "Bet she sticks to easy laps. Probably can't handle anything serious." Their kids, however, were having a different reaction. A little boy, no older than 7, stood at the edge of the pool, eyes wide. "Mom, did you see that? She swims like Coach Adam," he blurted out. Coach Adam was the senior swim instructor at the facility and the gold standard for every parent here. The moms exchanged a nervous glance. "Stay out of adult business," the pink hoodie mom muttered. Kiana kept swimming, fully aware of the shifting energy around her. On every turn, she noticed more children pausing their play to watch her glide through the water. She wasn't just fast, she was effortless, calm, a master of her craft. But the adults didn't see grace. They saw a threat. "She's showing off," one mom whispered, voice tight, trying to get attention. The leopard print mom leaned back, arms crossed. "We'll see how long that lasts. Some people just aren't built for this." Their voices weren't as quiet as they thought. Kiana heard every word, but she didn't react. Years of experience had taught her something important. In swimming, you conserve your energy. You don't waste it on surface noise. She reached the end of the lane and paused, rested her hands on the cool, tiled edge. Behind her, the three moms leaned forward, their judgment heavier now. The current of conflict was building, but they had no idea how deep the water really ran. Kiana pulled her goggles up onto her forehead and wiped the water from her face. She had completed several warm-up laps, barely breaking a sweat. Her muscles were loose now. Ready? As she rested against the edge of the lane, she could feel the weight of their stares pressing harder. The three white moms were no longer whispering. They were waiting. One of them, leopard print cover-up, gold hoops, too much perfume even in a pool, stood up. She walked toward the water's edge, phone dangling in her hand like she was ready to capture the moment if things went the way she expected. Her two friends followed a few steps behind, arms folded, smirking. The woman stopped just inches from the pool, towering over Kiana. "Hey," she called out, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "Are you just here to splash around?" Kiana looked up but said nothing. Her silence seemed to irritate the woman. "Because you know," she continued, waving a hand vaguely. "People like you usually stick to the shallow end, right?" There it was. The words weren't even disguised as microaggressions anymore. They were sharp, intentional, meant to humiliate, meant to remind Kiana that, in their eyes, she didn't belong here. The woman's friends snickered behind her. One of them pulled out her phone, pretending to text but clearly recording. "So," the leopard print mom pressed on, voice dripping with sarcasm, "can people like you even swim?" The air around the pool changed. The kids stopped playing. Even the lifeguard paused his patrol, sensing the tension. Kiana felt her jaw tighten. Every part of her wanted to fire back, to say something that would cut just as deep. But she didn't. She took a breath, calming the storm inside her. "You'll see," she finally replied, her voice steady, eyes locked onto the woman's smug face. The mom blinked, not expecting a response that cool. Her lips curled into a sneer. "Oh, we will." Her friends chuckled again, confident, certain. They thought they had embarrassed her, put her in her place. What they didn't know was that this wasn't Kiana's first time facing people like them, and it definitely wouldn't be the last time someone underestimated her. She pulled her goggles back down. "Watch closely," she muttered under her breath. Then she pushed off the wall and disappeared beneath the surface, leaving their laughter behind, where it belonged. As Kiana sliced through the water, the ripple of tension remained on the surface. The three moms didn't back down. If anything, the quiet power in Kiana's response had made them more determined. The leopard print mom strutted back to her seat, flicking her hair like she'd won some invisible battle. "See? She's running away already." She smirked loud enough for the nearest parents to hear. The pink hoodie mom chimed in, just trying to avoid real competition. "I mean, she looks fit," the third added, twisting the cap on her water bottle. "But looks can be deceiving. Let's see her keep up with actual swimmers." Their voices carried. A few other parents glanced over but stayed silent the way they always did. Nobody wanted to get involved. Kiana kept moving, lap after lap. Her strokes were steady, efficient. She wasn't swimming at her top speed yet. She didn't need to. Not for them. But the kids noticed. One by one, they stopped their chaotic games. Their eyes followed the sleek figure gliding effortlessly through the water. Even the lifeguard leaned forward slightly, recognition dawning in his expression. The moms kept going. "Bet she can't even hold her breath for long." "Yeah, notice how she's not even using the diving blocks." Probably afraid to try. It wasn't just disrespect anymore. It was open mockery, loud enough that it started to draw attention from strangers around the pool. But Kiana didn't break form. She didn't give them the outburst they wanted. Instead, she turned gracefully at the lane's end and launched into a smooth butterfly stroke. The power in her movement shocked even the lifeguard. Water arched behind her like wings. The kids gasped. "Whoa!" a little boy whispered. She's like a superhero. The leopard print mom rolled her eyes. Superheroes don't get tired in 3 laps. As if answering the challenge, Kiana picked up her pace. Her arms sliced through the water with perfect symmetry. Her breathing was controlled, focused, unstoppable. The 3 moms went quiet. Their smirks faded into uncertainty. But it wasn't over. The humiliation they were planning for her, it had just started to circle back on them. Kiana finished her set of butterfly strokes and gripped the pool's edge. Her breathing was steady, controlled. She pulled herself out of the water with one smooth, powerful motion, every movement honed by years of training. The water clung to her skin as she walked toward her bench. The moms watched, expecting her to pack up and leave in silent defeat. The leopard print mom crossed her arms and leaned back smugly. "That's right," she muttered under her breath. She knows she's out of her league. But Kiana didn't reach for her towel. She reached for her black coach's jacket, the one she rarely wore unless it was necessary. She slid it over her shoulders, the damp fabric clinging slightly before settling. Bold white letters stretched across the back. National Champion Swim Team, Coach Kiana. It was impossible to miss. The kids noticed first. One little girl tugged at her mom's arm. "Mom, she's a coach." The lifeguard spotted the jacket next and smiled slightly, nodding in recognition. But the 3 white moms were too busy exchanging self-satisfied grins to realize what was happening behind them. "About time she packed it in," said the pink hoodie mom. "I told you she couldn't handle real competition," leopard print added. Meanwhile, Kiana grabbed her whistle from the duffel, clipped it calmly to her jacket. She wasn't leaving. She was about to start training. She walked past the moms without a word and moved to lane 6, the reserved lane, marked for coaching and advanced swimmers only. The lifeguard leaned over and asked, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Coach K, you starting your youth session today?" The sound of that title, Coach K, sliced through the moms' laughter like a blade. The moms froze. Their smiles faltered. The realization started to dawn. Kiana gave a small, polite nod. Yes, first session back. By now, the kids were buzzing, whispering, watching. Some of the other parents started noticing too. The woman they mocked wasn't just some random swimmer. She was the new head coach, and she wasn't going anywhere. As Kiana stepped to lane 6, the lifeguard unhooked the rope dividing the advanced lane from the others. He smiled at her, nodding with respect. The children, still gathered near the edge of the pool, stared with wide eyes. Some whispered among themselves, "She's a real coach? Like, for champions?" The moms stayed rooted to their seats, their confidence evaporating. Leopard print tried to force a chuckle. So what? Coaching doesn't mean she's any good. It just means she talks a lot. But even she didn't believe her own words anymore. Kiana blew her whistle once, a sharp, crisp sound that cut through the air. The kids who had been watching her earlier perked up immediately. As if responding to instinct, they gathered by lane 6. "Is it true?" a little boy asked breathlessly. "Can you teach us to swim like you?" Kiana looked down at them. She could feel the eyes of the entire pool on her. Parents, lifeguards, even the front desk staff were watching now. She nodded. "Only if you're serious about learning." The children eagerly nodded. The leopard print mom jumped up. No, you're not getting swim lessons from a stranger. She's not qualified to." The lifeguard cleared his throat loudly. "Actually, she's more than qualified. National champion, state certified. You won't find better." The pink hoodie mom opened her mouth, then shut it. The third mom looked down at her feet. Their children weren't listening to them anymore. "Please, Coach K," one little girl pleaded. "Teach us." The shift had happened. It wasn't just Kiana proving herself. The children had chosen her. The parents were losing control. And for the first time that day, Kiana smiled, not to mock, not to boast, but because the tide had turned exactly when it was meant to. And she hadn't had to say a single cruel word to flip the entire power dynamic. The three moms stood stiffly, arms crossed, trying to hold on to the last shreds of control. But the crowd had already turned. Parents who had been silent earlier were now murmuring among themselves. Some were shaking their heads. Others gave Kiana small nods of respect. The ripple effect of the mom's earlier mockery was finally catching up to them. The leopard print mom hissed to her friends. She probably set this up. She wanted to make us look bad. We didn't say anything racist, the pink hoodie mom whispered nervously. We just asked a question. But their excuses sounded weak even to their own ears. Across the pool, the lifeguard blew his whistle and called for attention. Parents and swimmers, quick announcement, he said. Coach K is officially starting her youth advanced swim sessions today. If your kids are interested, let her know before we close registration this afternoon. A few parents clapped politely. A dad in cargo shorts actually cheered. The moms looked around, realizing just how many people had witnessed everything. Their humiliation wasn't private anymore. And the worst was yet to come. The children they had tried to shield from Kiana, the ones they assumed would agree with their prejudice, were now standing eagerly at the edge of the coaching lane. Mom, please, one boy begged, pulling at his mother's arm. I want to swim like Coach K. The pink hoodie mom tried to hush him. You already have lessons with Coach Adam. But Coach Adam can't do that, the boy insisted, pointing toward Kiana, who was now demonstrating a flawless freestyle start from the diving block. Even the other parents began approaching Kiana, asking how to sign up. A small line was forming. The leopard print mom's face flushed deep red. She grabbed her phone, as if to call someone, but then froze. Who would she call? Who could fix this? This wasn't a private grudge. This was a public reckoning. And the same community that once looked away when the moms sneered at Kiana was now silently watching them drown in their own arrogance. Let's just go, one of them whispered. But none of their kids followed. The three moms stood frozen as their children gathered closer to Kiana's lane. Please, Mom, the boy in the red swim trunks said again, eyes wide with hope. I want her to be my coach. Another little girl chimed in. She's way cooler than Coach Adam, and she's fast. Did you see her butterfly? The leopard print mom tried to keep her composure. No, you have swim lessons already. We don't need to switch. But the kids weren't listening. The pink hoodie mom's daughter folded her arms and stamped her foot. I'm not going back to Coach Adam. I want to swim like her. For the first time all afternoon, the moms realized they weren't in control anymore. Their children had chosen sides. The other parents started stepping forward, some quietly apologizing to Kiana for not speaking up sooner. We should have said something when they were mocking you, one father admitted. We're signing up our son if there's still space. She's the best swimmer I've ever seen, whispered another parent, better than any coach at this pool. The line at Kiana's lane grew longer. Children from all over the pool, some who didn't even know what had happened earlier, were begging their parents to join the session. And the three moms? They stood awkwardly at the back, their kids tugging at their hands, pleading, Please, Mom, don't ruin this. The leopard print mom opened her mouth to argue, but no words came out. For once, her confidence, her entitlement, had failed her. The pink hoodie mom finally sighed in defeat. We can't stop them. They want to learn from her. The third mom nodded reluctantly. We'll ask if she'll accept them. But when they looked at Kiana, she wasn't rushing to say yes. She stood at the edge of the pool, arms crossed, watching them with a calm, quiet authority. This wasn't desperation anymore. It wasn't about proving herself. It was about whether they were worthy of letting their children train with her. The power dynamic had flipped completely. The three moms hesitated, their kids pulling impatiently at their arms. The laughter and mockery from earlier felt like a distant memory now, replaced by desperation. They approached Kiana slowly, heads slightly bowed, their bravado gone. We, the leopard print mom began, swallowing her pride. We'd like to sign our kids up, if there's still space. Her voice wobbled between forced politeness and the remnants of her old arrogance. Kiana didn't speak right away. She let the silence stretch, heavy and uncomfortable. All eyes at the pool were on them now. The other parents had gathered, watching, waiting for her response. "I don't coach everyone," Kiana finally said, her tone calm but sharp. "I coach kids who respect the water and the people around it." The pink hoodie mom's face flushed. "Of course. Our kids, they're not like us." Her own child tugged at her sleeve. "Please, Mom, don't ruin this for me." The third mom, the quietest of the three, took a deep breath. "We were wrong. We shouldn't have said what we did." Kiana studied them for a moment longer. "Your kids can join," she said, "but they'll have to earn their place, just like everyone else." A ripple of approval moved through the crowd. Some parents even clapped quietly. The moms nodded quickly, murmuring thanks that barely sounded sincere, but it didn't matter. The power shift was complete. They had started the day thinking they could humiliate her. Now, they were asking her for the very thing they once mocked. As the mom stepped back, their kids beamed with excitement. The leopard print mom tried to reclaim some dignity. "We'll pay whatever the fee is." Kiana shook her head slightly. "This isn't about money." Then she blew her whistle sharply. "All right, team, let's get started." The kids gathered eagerly around her. The three moms stood at the back, powerless, watching as Kiana took charge of what had once been their world. But now, it was hers. Kiana gathered the children around the lane, her presence calm but commanding. "First rule," she began, her voice carrying across the now silent pool. "Respect the water." Second rule, respect each other. The kids nodded eagerly, hanging on every word. Behind them, the three moms stood awkwardly by the benches where they'd once laughed and whispered. Their earlier confidence was gone. They had no power here now, only the role of silent observers. One of the younger children raised her hand. "Coach K, are we going to swim like you today?" Kiana smiled, not out of pride, but out of something deeper, something earned. "We'll start small, master the basics, then we'll work toward greatness." She clapped her hands once. "Let's begin." As the children spread out into the water, following her instructions, Kiana took a moment to glance back at the crowd of parents. Most were smiling supportively now. A few even offered small nods of apology or respect. The very same community that had once stood silent now stood with her. The three moms? They watched quietly, their children beaming with excitement, loyalty, and admiration toward the very woman they had tried to belittle. The leopard print mom leaned toward the others and whispered, "We picked the wrong fight." Neither of her friends responded. They knew she was right. Kiana turned back to her students. As they lined up at the edge of the pool, ready to dive in, the light from the overhead windows cast a glow across the water. Her black coach's jacket rippled slightly in the breeze from the pool's ventilation system. National champion coach. Not just a title, a statement. She wasn't here to prove anything anymore. She was here to lead. And this time, the whole room finally recognized who held the real power.